What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Bodacious Rant. Hope everybody's having a great weekend and living life to the fullest, especially with summer around. You're listening to Burning Rye as always. This time we haven't done this in a while, but we're gonna do a double review just because I feel like these movies are very low key, like under the radar. Like not everyone kind of knows about these two, or maybe one of them they do more, but it just came out of nowhere. So we're gonna be talking some Insidious 5, The Red Door, and the new film Joyride, directed by Adele Lim as her first movie, which was great. And we'll just start with we'll get the somewhat scary stuff out of the way first. Have the scary vegetables first, and then we'll end with the dessert as always. Actually, that's just normal. Yeah, you know what? Whatever. Being basic, who cares? It is what it is. But before we get started, this is a non-spoiler double review, so we're not going to get into the stories too much or any extra scenes, so keep that in mind for both of these, and do not forget to give us a like, ring the bell, and of course subscribe. We do appreciate you all, and want y'all to keep following us in this journey of cinema while we're
especially
around.
this year, because this year's stacked.
Yeah, this July is again, especially July. July is gonna be a busy ass month, and it kind of already is off to a great start so far. So, let's get started, shall we? So, Insidious: The Red Door takes place approximately about 10 years after the second one. So, for those of you who remember, Insidious came out like 2011-ish, like early 2011. The sequel happened a couple years after that. I remember I was in high school, senior year. That was actually one of the first like horror movies in theaters with people. So that kind of
wow.
So yeah, so I'm a little partial, a little sentimental about this franchise just because I didn't really like scary stuff all that much growing up. Like I did because they fascinated me, but they freaked me out. And seeing Insidious gave me that boost of like, you know what? I want to watch more horror shit. Let's keep this going. So and this just revisits the original cast of Patrick Wilson, Rose Byrne, Ty Simpkins, who, man, that kid became a man, and time happened. Yeah, time happens, and you don't think about it because he was also in Insidious 2 and Iron Man 3 in 2013. So that was a good year for him. And I remember in Endgame in 2019, I was like, oh man, that kid got tall. Like he looks lanky and stuff. This movie, he actually looked pretty jacked. I was like, Jesus, Ty, like, relax, man. You're still young, dude. Just cool it down. Made me feel old. And even the one that played the younger brother, I forgot Dalton's little brother. Let me pull out the cast list real quick. But that I was like, I thought that was really cool of them to do because most movies, when the kids grow up and stuff, either they're not acting anymore or, maybe they just didn't want to get them or for whatever reason. So it's kind of nice that they brought him back.
Yeah, and also correct me if I'm wrong, but we haven't seen this family since chapter 2, right? It wasn't 3 like a prequel or something. I didn't really keep up with a lot of the Insidious movies. I saw the first one. I think I saw the second one, and the other ones I never got around to watching, unfortunately.
No worries, Bern. Yeah, for those of you who don't remember, so Insidious 1 and 2 are direct sequels of each other, and then 3 and 4 are essentially prequels that follow Lynn Shay's character Elise. So those and actually I rewatched them this week with Insidious 5 coming out, and they're actually still pretty solid. Insidious is definitely one of those franchises that's definitely known for like jump scares, just because the loud music, the demons and the entities and stuff like that. But I think 1, 2, and even 3 definitely built some genuine horror, in my opinion. The fourth one wasn't too bad either at it. So, but getting back to this one, so this is a direct sequel to the second and first one. So this is almost like the Insidious trilogy within the franchise. And oh my god, I was thinking about it. Dalton, he's now grown up, going to college his first year. But because the way the events in the second one ended, which spoiler event for the second one, given it's been 10 years, but Patrick Wilson's character and his son Dalton, they both had their memories. They both basically had their memories hypnotized out of them of the first two movies because they're just trying not to do the astral projection anymore. But essentially, the past comes back to haunt him in this one, and basically a familiar, the lipstick demon from the first one, that iconic look, that iconic image of just Patrick Wilson, and then the Darth Maul looking demon,
Darth Maul
freaking
demon,
out, yeah. That thing has come back to haunt the Lambert family again. So having with that story and stuff like that, I personally I liked the movie. I thought it was pretty good. There were definitely a couple creepy ass parts in this. This is Patrick Wilson's first directorial debut, so
Mm-hmm.
I respected that. Um, it's just nice that when these actors and stuff they try and take the helm. They're trying to expand their portfolio, increase their experience and stuff. And it's great. I think he did pretty well. I will say, scares wise are hit and miss because it's again jump scares and stuff. I like genuine stuff that just builds upon horror. Like even if you
Yeah.
like I think one of the best examples with that was Haunting of Hill House because there was a bunch of stuff you could miss in that show, and then there were with some jump scares in it.
Mm.
Um, and I will say Patrick Wilson knows how to direct his cast really well when it comes to like drama, because the actors did a great job with the turmoil and stuff they're all going through, the lack of remembering from their hazy childhood and just that those years ago, like 10 years ago. So, and it was just great to see everyone again. For me, again, I'm very sentimental, so I think that's why it was like. I think that's why I probably will like it more than most, but Burn, since this is like probably your second, maybe third Insidious movie, and I know you're not too much of a fan of horror in the theater. What did you think of this one?
I mean, yeah. I mean, just right off the top, like said, this particular horror franchise is not really sentimental for me. It's just one of those that kind of came and went, and I just kind of never really paid attention to. The Conjuring, I would say, is that franchise for me that I do enjoy a little bit more when it comes to like appreciating horror in the more jump scare sense. But having said that, I do second pretty much everything you said. I thought that although the scares are a little bit hit or miss, like you mentioned, it does kind of rely on the cheap jump scare a little bit too much. There are at least a couple of different set pieces that build up some genuine tension and terror, and obviously pay off with a really good scare. So I thought Patrick Wilson, having directed this, I thought you can tell like he was kind of learning the ways of horror. He's definitely not on the level of James Wan. I mean, James Wan has been doing horror for a very long time, so it's hard to really compare him to that. And then I think that's a little bit unfair of us to do that. But this being his first movie, you can see he's kind of cutting his teeth a little bit. But where he does succeed greatly, and you mentioned that too, is that he really did handle the drama here really well, in my opinion. Because at the core of this movie, it is an estranged, father and son story. And I thought he handled those emotional beats between the two pretty well for the most part. And I'd be very curious to see what he chooses to direct next. And hopefully it would be like a drama or something. Because, I mean, you can see the signs there of him having a real talent, like you mentioned, of pulling good performances out of actors. Him being one of the actors, of course. He got a good performance out of himself, I'll say that. But yeah, overall, I was going in with very low expectations, but I was pleasantly surprised in certain aspects of it, mainly with the drama and the acting. In terms of the scares, though, it was a little bit more hit or miss, and I thought the ending sort of was a little bit convenient in my opinion. And I'll let people discover that for themselves and come away with their own opinions. But for me, it just it didn't wrap up as tightly or as well as I would have hoped it would have.
And that's totally fair. I could see that. I mean, it kind of almost opens the door that if they want to keep Insidious going, they can, and if they want to end it here, they can. That's as far as I'm gonna say without spoiling it. So, um, having said all that, and agreeing with you, Burn, on those aspects, I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 5 again, just because I do like this franchise. I think it's definitely I think this is the strongest acted one, maybe since the first and third one. Like it's just the best, like because some horror movies, because when they try and focus on stuff other than the horror, most of the time they fall flat. In all honesty, because they try and create some drama, or they try and have like an alternate story or something with like a subplot within it, and most of the time it's just yeah, I know this is not working for you guys. You guys just shoehorned this in because you wanted to be more than horrors, and I'm glad that this one worked out. I just think it could have definitely been. I think they could have had a little more fun with creating tension in some of the scenes, almost like the first one did. So, other than that, yeah, I still enjoyed it. I would definitely say if you're not a fan of this franchise, probably $5 Tuesday. Maybe even wait for rental. But if you do like Insidious, this is definitely one to go see in theaters when you can.
Yeah, for me, it's gonna be a 2 out of 5. It's a solid horror movie at the end of the day. I think for anyone in the summer scape of movies that they're looking at, if they want a horror movie that'll do the job, they give them a scare and provide some entertainment. This is one that they can definitely go watch. But like you, I'd say maybe catch a matinee or see if you can watch it like on a $5 Tuesday or something. Because unless you're a huge fan of this Insidious franchise. Not really a fan of horror, there isn't really too much here to really recommend outside of the family drama. But that really only pays off if you've seen the previous at least the first two, and to kind of pay off those characters. But other than that, it was okay. It was pretty standard, pretty solid. Again, I thought it was going to be a lot worse, and walked away pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, that's totally fair, Burn. I'm not upset with that, but so yeah, let us know in the comments if you plan on seeing it. Did you like it? If you did see it, was it a dud for you? We'd love to know. But now let's talk some of I think one of the best comedies in a while, Joyride, which essentially is, I would say it's a combination of almost like The Hangover and Crazy Rich Asians mixed together, or even like Euro Trip.
Girls Trip, I would say.
Or Girls Trip, that's what I meant. I would say, yeah, Girls Trip and Crazy Rich Asians mixed together, where it follows a group of, four friends-ish, of ladies and stuff like that have a work trip to China, and ends up, the main character, Ashley Park's main character, Audrey, she ends up going on a journey to find her birth mother within China. And yeah, I mean that's pretty much the short of it, and it was. I mean, because No Hard Feelings, I know we didn't do a review on that. I thought that was one of the best comedies we've had in a while. This is definitely up there. It was so flippin' funny. Actually, I've never really seen all these ladies before, so I thought that was really nice. Except for Stephanie Shu, I know she was in Nora from Queens, and she was in Everything Everywhere All at Once, which I still need to watch, unfortunately, but.
Yeah, got an Oscar nomination for that too.
Yeah, which she rightly deserves, because she's also hilarious in this. They're all great, and this is one of those movies that everyone is important. It's not just like two of them are funny or something, or there's that one oddball. It's like they're all great in this movie. Ashley Park is the main character, Audrey. Stephanie Shu is her famous college friend Kat. Sherry Cola, which was I think either her or the other one, Deadeye, were my favorite ones, just because Sherry Cola is such a savage in this movie. She's so like abrasive with her words and her mindset. Like, it's so great. There's some great dialogue moments with her and Kat, especially because they're just those two best friends of that one best friend that just like don't really like each other that much at first. So that was great. And then the other one I'm talking about is Sabrina Wu, who plays Deadeye, because she was such a goober and such a weirdo. I couldn't help but love her in this movie, because, oh my god, she is that one person I would just be like, oh great, like they're going with us on this trip, like ugh. But she ends up being such a great character in this. They all have great moments in this, and again the humor was just out there. It was so good. Like, people were dying laughing in the theater. But
yeah.
Byrne, what did you think of this one?
I really enjoyed this movie a lot, and this movie along with No Hard Feelings, the other movie that you mentioned, it feels like we're kind of seeing a little bit of a return of the raunchy comedy. We haven't got one of those in a little while. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think like the last few we've kind of gotten was like the Neighbors movies. That means at least the ones that come to mind that are just straight up comedies, and that really delve into the R-ratedness of them, because it's been a minute.
For raunchy comedies, kind of, yeah. I mean, if there have been, they're kind of, they weren't that good to come to mind. You know what I mean? Where these two are definitely some like good, strong entries, especially for the summer season, like No Hard Feelings with Jennifer Lawrence in like a very summer setting, and then this one just being on a trip with like four friends going somewhere. It's just definitely puts you in the summer mood, because like travel and the beach and stuff like that. But again, they both all those ladies killed it in their movies, so it's awesome.
Yeah, so I mean, it is kind of nice to see that, and hopefully, the movies do well because we're kind of seeing like in the industry right now, where summer movies have been dominated by like superhero blockbusters. Those movies haven't been doing well as of late. So hopefully, that leaves the door open for more mid-budget, different genre type of things to come in, and hopefully that this movie is one of them because as I mentioned, this was a lot of fun, and like the other movies that we talked about here, like Girls Trip, and I would say even Bridesmaids. We have a female centric raunchy comedy movie, and it's really really well done in my opinion, and that really relies on the strength of the cast. The how this the chemistry of the group works, and as you mentioned, all the ladies here are equally funny in their own specific ways, and that provides something different, like a different dynamic to the group, and they all get their laughs, and I thought they did really really well with that, and also the setting too. Seeing a lot of like China. It's not something we see often in movies. Usually these road trip comedies are either like in the States or maybe somewhere in Europe, but this one we're getting to see more of Asia, which is really cool. But yeah, I mean, and for the first time director Adele Lim, also first time director. We talked about Patrick Wilson being first time, but she has a really good resume with writing Raya the Last Dragon and writing Crazy Rich Asians. So for her to come out of the gate with a raunchy comedy like this, very different from those other two movies, I thought she knocked it out of the park for this sort of debut and giving us where I wouldn't say I mean, it's too early to tell if this is like a classic in the genre, but it should definitely be in the conversation of at least one of the better comedies that we've gotten in a while.
Especially with a all female like main cast as well. So I think that's
Mm-hmm.
even better because the ladies got to get their credit as well. It's been a while since like leading ladies have made me laugh this hard in both movies. So, with this one, I'm gonna give it like a hard 4 out of 5, just because again they were so funny, and the director, she did a great job at not only like bring in the laughs, but also there were some really hearty like emotional moments in this one where it was like, damn, this cuts to the core a little bit, and it's a very surprising way. So,
Mm-hmm.
I definitely recommend this, whether it be a matinee, Friday night movie, Saturday night. It doesn't matter. This is definitely one of those movies that kind of makes you want to go for just a good time.
Yeah, it's going to be a 4 out of 5 for me. Also, I wouldn't doubt if by the end of this year, this stays probably the best comedy of the year, just because it's really that good. And as you mentioned, it does have a really good emotional core to it, also, which is very surprising and showed that Adele Lim can really handle both. So I'd honestly be very curious to see what she does next, whether she does more comedy or whether she delves into the drama. We know that usually if you could do comedy really well, you can really handle some dramatic stuff, and she's going to be one that's very interesting to see, like what she does with her career, and also the ladies in the cast too. Again, they're very funny. I wouldn't be surprised if one of them sort of gets like the Melissa McCarthy treatment, where probably Sherry Cola. I would say definitely keep an eye
She
out for
was
her because
great.
she was really good, and this is the only thing I've seen her in, and I wouldn't doubt if she starts getting a lot of supporting roles or even her own comedy movies because she was that good in this one. But yeah, really fun movie. 4 out of 5. Go watch it for sure if you want something that'll get you to laugh in the theaters.
Absolutely. But that'll do it for us for the double review. Again, let us know in the comments if you saw both of these movies or one or the other. We'd love to know and love to know what you thought of them. Until next time, we got Mission Impossible coming out this week. I'm super excited
Yes.
because Fallout was one of the best ones in the, if not the best one in the franchise, and then Rogue
Oh yeah.
Nation. It's one of those franchises that amazingly keeps getting better and better since Mission Impossible 3, which is a very hard feat to do. So
Mm-hmm.
stay tuned for that review, and of course, stay bodacious and keep on ranting for the both of us.
Absolutely, everybody. Be good, be safe, and as always, we will catch y'all on the next one.